Indonesia and the EU have signed a sweeping trade agreement after nearly a decade of negotiations. The deal, signed in Bali, removes tariffs for 80% of Indonesian goods in the European Union. Indonesia's economic ministry aims to have it take effect in January 2027. It follows similar trade agreements in the region between the EU, Singapore, and Vietnam. Leaders say the deal helps shield both economies from global trade tensions.
For Indonesia's textile industry, the pressure is on. This factory in Bandung on the island of Java is desperate for new markets and hopes to find them in Europe. Right now, this cotton linen is hit with EU tariffs as high as 8%. Cutting that to zero, the owner says, could save his business.
The
demand in Europe is there, but of course, we still have to meet their standards. Right now, we only export to Japan because they are willing to adjust to the conditions of its suppliers, like my factory.
Since the US trade war, Indonesia has been flooded with cheap Chinese textiles that were once bound for the American market. So with the domestic market already saturated, this deal with Europe is getting a lot of attention. The EU is one of Indonesia's largest trading partners, with bilateral trade worth about $30 billion last year.
We definitely have very high hopes. I think if we look at the trade Indonesia and EU in the next 5 years, hopefully with this agreement we can perhaps increase 30 to 50% even. That's really our hope that it will get there.
The deal is expected to boost Indonesia's top exports to Europe, including palm oil. Under the EU's new deforestation law, palm oil can't be imported if it comes from recently cleared land. But the agreement is expected to give Indonesia some preferential treatment. Experts agree Donald Trump's tariff hikes sped up trade talks around the world. Vietnam and Singapore have already signed deals with Europe. Now, after nearly a decade of negotiations, Indonesia is the third Southeast Asian nation to do so.
This agreement will definitely put us in the same level of playing field like Vietnam and other countries, right? Because Vietnam has earlier already a CEPA with EU, and it has, if you've seen the number, not just trade, but investment has really picked up significantly.
But market access or fresh investment for Dudi Gumilar's company are still some way off. The deal needs approval from EU member states and both the European and Indonesian parliaments. If all goes well, it could take effect in about 2 years.
DW Asia Pacific Bureau Chief Georg Matthes is in Bali, where the agreement was signed. He has more details on the terms of the agreement.
Well, clearly optimistic mood here in Bali on both sides, the EU and Indonesia, particularly when it comes to tariffs. They will dramatically fall. Some speak of up to 90 or even over 90%. The details still need to be hammered out in the next weeks and months and years to come until this is ratified and comes into force. But tariffs is an important field for agriculture, but also for minerals. And here nickel is particularly interesting, although the Indonesian side already made clear that we are talking zero tariffs or potentially zero tariffs then for processed nickel only. That is also true for an American deal that was hammered out in recent months. So no raw materials are coming out of Indonesia free of tariffs. And then there is a crucial point when it comes to standards, because here Indonesia really hopes that this will lift them up and make them also more competitive in other markets. If they meet European standards, they can also sell their products more reliably and more safely into other markets worldwide.
Again, it's been a decade in the making. Does the signing of the agreement come just at the right moment?
I'd say absolutely. I mean, particularly for Indonesia, we lately have seen protests in the country. There is huge economic insecurity in the population. The economy isn't doing so bad, actually, but there have been a lot of layoffs, particularly in the textile industry, as we've seen in the report. And so this is good news. These are new market access really is the big word when you talk to the industry. And then on the European side, of course, they were eyeing a deal because Indonesia lately just hammered out a trade deal with the United States. So the competition worldwide is on for opening up markets and making deals so you can secure that you can sell your products and can receive products as well. And with it, that's for Indonesia, again, interesting investment.
As was previously mentioned briefly in the report that you filed, it appears some of the critical issues or points in the agreement were watered down, at least partly by Trump's tariff policy. What more can you tell us?
That is, of course, the big concern of environmental organizations because it took so long, this deal, to make almost 10 years because of European concerns over environmental standards. Now, I asked the commissioner today, the European commissioner here in Bali, and I didn't get a straight answer. And that is also what I hear on the sidelines of this summit. The deforestation directive will only come into force at the end of the year. And so what I have heard is that this deal, when it comes to palm oil and environmental standards, is very rough. And in not too detailed. So in a way, the can has been kicked down the road on environmental issues.
That's Georg Matthes in Bali, Indonesia. Many thanks, Georg.